But yeah, speaking of masculinity, I don't think I've ever been like, I don't know, I think a lot of teenage boys kind of get obsessed with coming across as manly. And I've just never really felt any need to be like, oh, I gotta be a man. And I think maybe part of that is just like, I kind of feel like part of that is like my interest in Japanese media maybe gave me a different view of masculinity, because I was like listening to Gact. And to me, in my teenage years, if you had been like, who is the most manly man? I would have probably said like, oh, Gact. And Gact is like a very feminine guy. I'm comfortable with how unmanly I can come across, yeah. And I feel like the way I would phrase it because of that is sort of just like, I don't really see it from a scale of 1 to 10 being a man. I just feel like there's different kinds of masculinity, right? There's different kinds of being a man. So I think my exposure to just like different kinds of like being a man from different cultures kind of just made me comfortable with being my own kind of man. I mean, I had long hair when I was a teenager, down to like my shoulders, and people would be like, oh, you want to like be a girl? And I just didn't care. Because it's like, who cares? Like, I'm just doing it because it looks nice. But I could definitely see like someone being uncertain about it because of that. Damn it. Remember the Parappa? Oh, I do remember that. That's a really good one.
Hi.
Here we go now, kick punch block.
Kick, punch, block.
Chop kick block.
Chop, kick, block.
エレガントだ。
Block duck and kick it.
Block, turn, kick.
君の声が欲しい。
Hey, Gakuto.
今度はパラッパ色メロミックス。
Eleganto. I'm good. I'm satisfied. Gact is a fascinating figure even today. Because he's like, I don't know. He's kind of more perverted now, I guess. Maybe that has changed about him. He's older and more perverted. But even at his like debut, his height, I think he was like 32 or something like that. He was quite old. Like when he was at his height. He doesn't even sound past... Yeah, he still looks really young. I think he's like nearing 60 now, isn't he? He might even be 60 years old. And at his height, when he was like at his peak popularity, he was like 33, something like that. He came into like entertainment quite late, I think. Or maybe he started early, but he was like in his previous band, Malice Miser, right? I really hope I'm not confusing bands and embarrassing myself. Speaking of age, old woman needs my help. I listened... Actually, I just remembered this. The first digital music I ever bought was Gact. I bought Gact on iTunes because I had a period where I was like... This was before Spotify, when I was downloading every kind of music I could find that I liked. The first thing I ever bought was Gact. And just in that period where I was like, I'm gonna like buy all my music instead of pirating stuff. All I had was Gact, so I just listened to a ton of Gact. And then I guess I got tired of it. I was like, this sucks. Why am I buying music? Actually, one of my biggest idols as a teen wasn't even Gact. It was, but I don't know if people know this guy. He's like lesser known. The vocalist for Dir en Grey, Kyo. But he is a weird guy, or at least back then, he was a really weird guy, where he would like cut himself on stage and stuff like that. He would like bring out a razor. Which, back in the day, as a teenager, I was like, wow, that is so cool. Now as an adult, I remember that, and I'm like, you need to chill out, man. You need to calm down. You shouldn't be doing that on stage. You're giving yourself like permanent damage. And he went like deaf in his left ear from not like doing proper exercise while performing on stage, or like wearing proper aid. And he has like permanently damaged his throat. You couldn't get away with half his life. I think in that case it's like reasonable not to get away with it. Oh my god, this is supposed to be 20 meters. I think today that would not be met with like, wow, that is so cool. Look at that. Look at what he's doing on stage. Now people would be like, we need to like, nowadays people would be horrified by it, but I think that is probably for the correct reason. But I think I watched an interview with Kyo like not too long ago, and he seemed like chilled out. He seemed like very like normal now. Also, there's a story about Kyo that like I think about every now and then. Kyo, the vocalist of Darren Gray, he got into an argument with his parents when he was like 18, and it became like a huge argument. I don't think he ever said what it was about. But his way to solve the argument was to strip down naked and stand outside of her house. And people would look at him, and the idea was apparently that people would be so embarrassed that his parents would like just yield and be like, okay, just come inside. I don't know, it seems like it worked. Counter argument, unzips pants. I'm sorry, Manpa. It has come to this.